خلاص كده.
كده شغال. Hello everybody. First of all, for those who know me from the last levels, I have a good news for them. This presentation is not about Formula 1. Okay? My presentation about a man, I don't think many of you know about him too much. Because this man didn't create a big controversy this nowadays, but my opinion that he should do. Because he could be considered by some people a hero, and because he could consider by others a criminal, a war criminal. Without this long introduction, this is it. Do you see him well? Do you know him?
I thought about him.
Know him? You? About you? Should know.
No, I don't recognize
He is the 33rd President of the United States of America. The President Harry Truman.
Harry Truman.
Yeah. He was the president from April 1945 to January 1953. What I am talking about here is his decision to bomb the two atomic bombs on the Japanese cities Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Some consider that he had get this decision because he just have this solution, or this were the only way for him. And he said, I see it's the only way for me to act this, at this time, and if the time repeats itself, I'll do it again. But we have to ask ourselves. So, somebody see him as a hero that saves thousands of the life of American troops that could be lost if they invade Japan and end the world style, and some others saw him as a war criminal, just killed thousands of civilians, poor civilians, innocent one that have nothing to do with this war, or maybe against it anyway. You can see here how destructive this bomb. This is the picture of Nagasaki before the bomb and after the bomb. Can you see the difference? Can you see it? Clear. I'm talking about it now because I think that he should have another solution. And the American politicians or the American presidency or the Allied forces have the intention to use this atomic bomb just to test them and test how they are destructive. The Manhattan Project states that they should test the atomic bomb on one of the Japanese cities to test it how it is destructive and show all over the world how destructive can we do to them and how destructive our weapons. And they have the evidence. They choose the city of Hiroshima, the first city that bombed with atomic bombs, for several reasons. One of them, or the first important of them, that's surrounded by some mountains that could focus the damage and maximize it. The second one, that they deliberately don't bomb this city with the conventional bombs, so they can examine only the damage of the atomic bomb. They didn't attack it before, many months before the atomic bombing. Another thing, the Potsdam Declaration that the American asked the Japanese, ordered the Japanese to surrender unconditionally. Would you mind I read some words of it? We, the President of the United States, the President of the National Government of the Republic of China, and the Prime Minister of Great Britain, representing the hundreds of millions of our countrymen, have conferred and agreed that Japan shall be given an opportunity to end this war. The prodigious land, sea, and air forces of the United States, the British Empire, and China, many times reinforced by their armies and their air fleet from the west, are poised to strike the final blow upon Japan. This military power is sustained and inspired by the determination of all the allied nations to prosecute the war against Japan until she ceases resist. The full application of our military power, backed by our resolve, will mean the inevitable and complete destruction of the Japanese armed forces, and just inevitably the utter devastation of the Japanese homeland. Following are our terms, we will not deviate from them. There are no alternatives. We shall brook no delay. I think the terms are not important.
Yes.
We will jump to the final paragraph.
Please.
We call upon the government of Japan to proclaim now the unconditional surrender of all Japanese armed forces and to provide proper and adequate assurance of their good faith in such action. And the alternative for Japan is prompt and utter destruction. Do anyone hear anything about atomic bombs? They didn't get any attention. Any notice? Because they have the intention to test it. They want to do that. And they were known that Japan will not comply and will not surrender unconditionally just in 1 week. This declaration issued on July 26, 1945, and the first atomic bomb after about 2 weeks on August 6 on Hiroshima, and the second one just 3 days on Nagasaki on August 9th. Those two atomic bombs caused the death of 220,000 people. 200,000 people. half of them on the days of the bombing, and the second half until the end of 45. In addition to the others who caught diseases like cancer and leukemia, who observed bombs. They were talking about four people that will survive the first atomic bomb in Hiroshima. The city was destroyed. The atomic bomb destroyed about 60 to 70% of the city, and another around 7% were damaged. Those people escaped from Hiroshima to Nagasaki to just bombs 2 days later. Anyway, we can now speak about this biography of this man. So before that, do you agree that he noticed that they have nothing to do except bombing them? Or they have another solution to kill all these civilians? So anyone have an answer?
It depends about the situation of the Japanese.
Anyway, they got too many benefits. First, they test the bombs. Second, they ensure the new empire of the United States. Third, they show all over the world how we can distract you if you obey our orders, or if you try to disagree one of our opinions. I think this is a huge example of the country or international terrorist that started back to 1945. I think it started by the United States, not anyone else. Can you be secure or safe if you know that someone may destroy you completely? Is it the freedom, the democracy, the human rights? They told the world they are coming to give it to them or to support it? I don't know. Anyway, I'll tell you some of the biography of this man. Sorry, I think it's time. Henry Truman, where Henry Truman born? Where born? Was born? Just kidding with you. On May 8th, on 1884, on Lamar, Missouri State of the United States. And he died only in Missouri too, on December 26, 1972, on the age of 88. His political party is Democratic. He acted as a senator. He was a senator for the state of Missouri from 1935 to 1945. After becoming the vice president of the President Franklin Roosevelt on his fourth term, he had been he had been a vice president for only 82 days, and after that, the President Roosevelt had passed away, and he became the president. They said something about him, that Truman had been vice president for only 82 days when President Roosevelt died. At April 12, he had very little meaningful communication with Roosevelt about world affairs or domestic politics after being sworn in as vice president, and was completely uninformed about major initiatives relating to successful prosecution of the war, notably the top secret, the Manhattan Project, which is actually the atomic bomb, which was about the test the test, the world's first atomic bomb. After the death of the President Roosevelt, he said to Mrs. Roosevelt, he asked if there were anything he could do for her, to which she replied, "Is there anything we can do for you? You are the one in trouble now." Anyway, President Harry Truman have many things to do on the foreign affairs too, and her term in the presidency of the United States were full of creation of institutes and nation united. Anyway, the first one of the foreign affairs he had during his term, the end of the Second World War and his decision to use nuclear weapons against Japan, said, the foundation of the United Nations after the Second World War, the Marshall Plan to rebuild Europe after the destruction of the war, the beginning of the Cold War against the Soviet Union, the creation of North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, the Korean War, and the recognition of Israel.
Sorry?
The recognition of Israel in 1947. Thank you.